This is Hannibal here for my weekly review of the points I find interesting. In Dave Meltzer's Wrestling Observer, the news of the Billy Jack Haynes murder allegations came out after the Observer was released. I already did a previous report on that. It's very depressing and sad for sure that he allegedly killed his wife who had been suffering from severe dementia. He had been taking care of her. She was about, I would say, 10 to 13 years older than him. She was definitely into her 80s a bit, and he was 70. And his job was taking care of her the past few years. And more details, I'm sure, are going to come out, but he was apparently armed when the police team came. Somewhat of a SWAT team. There was about a 2-hour standoff, and then he ended up cooperating. He had contacted me earlier in the day yesterday, but I didn't get the messages in time for him to respond. By the time I called back, he had also messaged me a few days ago saying he was going through a lot of emotional distress. So really, really sad and depressing situation. I've got a massive headache and I'm extremely sad hearing about that, but I'll get through this and definitely rest in peace to his wife, Jan. And they recently lost their pet, who was very close to both of them, was named after Jan's son, and I'm sure that didn't help matters. I know Billy took it very, very hard because it was his fault that he overfed the pet. But he had overfed the pet because he loved the pet and he was trying to make it happy by giving it food. And as I said, he has a lot of concussion issues as well. I mean, you can tell by the interviews I've done with him. There's there was definitely concussion issues, and he fully admits that. According to the Hollywood Reporter, the whole reason Vince resigned was because Slim Jim had pulled out of as a sponsor from the Royal Rumble, and TKO CEO Ari Emanuel and COO Mark Shapiro, TKO President Ari Emanuel, CEO Ari Emanuel, Chief Executive Officer, and COO Mark Shapiro called McMahon and asked him if he would leave, and McMahon did without a fight. So again, it's all about the money. Apparently, Grant had probably already told authorities as far as the federal investigation into this McMahon situation, what was going on, and certainly the TKO executives were aware of the non-disclosures. Apparently, federal investigators, according to the Wrestling Observer here, were aware that the women that McMahon had made payouts to and had subpoenaed all records of communication between McMahon and the women and confiscated McMahon's phone during a search. It came up this week when John Laurinaitis' lawyer, confirmed that WWE executives were aware of Ashley Mazzaro's rape charges. It kind of brought these rape allegations into light. Speaking of the concussion lawsuit that Billy Jack Haynes was involved with, Ashley Massaro was also involved in that lawsuit. I think the problem with that lawsuit is most of these wrestlers involved in it had decades long careers and often had professional careers in other sports. So it's hard to say that did their concussion issues come directly from WWE or was it other sports? And then Massaro had a claim in the. This was not a separate lawsuit. This was just mentioned in the concussion lawsuit that she claimed she was raped on a WWE military tour in Kuwait, and the WWE had sat her down and told her not to report it. They denied that this happened and denied knowledge of it, but John Laurinaitis' lawyer confirmed that he was aware of it at the time. Massaro's affidavit that was filed before her death claimed that a doctor or someone claiming to be a doctor had injected her with a paralyzing drug. The person that raped her was representing themselves as a U.S. Army doctor. And this apparently happened in 2007. She was told by McMahon and Laurinaitis not to talk about it to preserve the company's relationship with the military. According to the affidavit, Massaro said in this affidavit, quote, "He told me not to let one bad experience ruin the good work they were doing," end quote. The Naval Criminal Intelligence Service opened an investigation into these claims in June 2019 that was closed in January 2020. There would have to be information obtained under the under the Freedom of Information Act for the results of that investigation to come out. Apparently, during this tour, when this happened, she was touring facilities in Afghanistan, Saudi Arabia, and Kuwait. She was with several other performers on this tour, but the reason why she was in the medical facility was apparently she was having an issue with dehydration, was taken to the military base and given an IV. After a couple of hours, the alleged doctor allegedly administered another IV and took her into another room. And that's where she was apparently raped and sodomized, then returned to her hotel. The drug caused her to be unable to move or scream, but she was aware of everything that was going on. It sounds horrible. This whole thing sounds friggin' horrible. Apparently, McMahon, Laurinaitis, and WWE production chief Kevin Dunn, who conveniently retired the end of December before all this dirt has come out about WWE. Apparently, Vince apologized for what she went through, but asserted that if she disclosed the incident, it would ruin the WWE's relationship with the military. That's why she didn't talk about it at the time. In other WWE news, Elimination Chamber in Australia later this month. It's going to a 70,000 building. It's got 43,000 tickets out right now. NXT's Vengeance Day pay-per-view show, February 4th in Clarksville, Tennessee, drew 3,970 fans. It's about an hour away from Nashville. CM Punk had surgery February 1st to repair his torn tricep. Jade Cargill is going to be in a Mountain Dew Super Bowl commercial. Bret Hart said he's embarrassed that he ever respected Vince McMahon, and his whole situation with him has now been tainted. WWE SmackDown in Birmingham, Alabama last Friday had 9,800 paid. WWE Raw in St. Louis Monday had 9,000 paid. AEW Dynamite did a 0.28 rating this week, which isn't bad for Dynamite, but according to Meltzer, he says with the Sting Tag Team Championship match, which Sting and Dale did win the Tag Team Championships, and a Tony Khan announcement, and Swerve Strickland versus Adam Page, he expected to be higher. I think these Tony Khan announcements are played out, to say the least. And Apparently, they're keeping it a secret. Not really. They're trying to do the CM Punk thing where they're saying someone's going to debut next week in Boston, and it's going to be Sasha Banks, but they're going to not officially say that it's her. Be honest, I'm sure a lot of people are going to watch her debut, but is she going to help the company out of its current slump? I don't see her making a massive difference. The Collision this weekend, Super Bowl weekend in the Las Vegas area, only has 1,641 tickets out total. The Collision last weekend in Edinburgh, Texas, had 3,177 people in attendance, which is a good crowd. People love wrestling in Texas. Scott D'Amore was let go from TNA this week. Apparently, he had been complaining about the low budget of TNA, which, in my opinion, is probably because the company just is not making money. We're not making enough to merit a bigger budget. Apparently, an example of one of his issues with TNA is he wanted to bring in Braun Strowman for Bound for Glory 2021, but Anthem felt his asking price was too high for the business that he was going to bring. And if you look at what Braun Strowman was drawing on the independents, he was not drawing much. You weren't seeing him in front of really any big crowds on the independents. And to be honest, I remember that his independent asking price was like 25,000 an appearance. 25,000 American, not including his travel. So who knows what he was trying to get from TNA. But I would understand why Anthem would feel that Braun Strowman wouldn't have been worth his price. Does anyone, you guys can write in the comments, would Braun Strowman really have made a difference in TNA? He's done his return to WWE has been forgettable. I know he's got injured, but he's a big guy and everything, but his peak was with the Wyatt family. He was at his best with the Wyatt family for sure, which was a while ago. Steve McMichaels, former WWE superstar, is going to be inducted into the 2024 Pro Football Hall of Fame. Toby Keith, country music star, performed on the very first TNA show and was a WWE guest host at one point, passed away at the age of 62, February 5th. Virgil has apparently suffered strokes in recent months. Jacob Fatu is now a free agent. And I was cleared of some false allegation assault charges this week after going through a year and a half of hell. But lots of people wanted to report before I was cleared. Very few people want to report that I got cleared. It's just the way it goes. People would rather report bad news than good news. Billy believes Vince abused Ashley. I don't know about that. Christian, Billy Jack there's no doubt he had mental health issues. There's no doubt. Um, he always talked so highly about his wife and how much he loved his wife. So I really don't know. I don't know the details of it. It's just a sad, horrible situation. And with that, I'm gonna go to the gym and try and friggin' get my mind off all this crap, burn some calories. It's been a bad day hearing about this news about Billy Jack Haynes. Which, by the way, from the news reports I've seen from Oregon, I don't think they realized that he was actually a famous wrestler. It may come out more, but all the reports I've seen, and some of them have shown his pictures getting arrested. They haven't reported the name Billy Jack Haynes, but it's clearly him. But like considering other than Roddy Piper, who lived in Oregon, I think Billy Jack Haynes is unquestionably the most known wrestler from Oregon, from that territory. I'm surprised that the media there has not caught on. Samuel Ellis, thanks a lot for the $1.99 super sticker. Any little bit helps support this channel. Wish everybody a great weekend. And again, I'm really sorry to hear the Billy Jack Haynes stuff. Rest in peace to his wife. And God, he's going to be going through. He's had a really hard life. And at 70 years old, having to go to jail with the mental health issues that he has and his physical limitations that he has right now. Um, it's just not going to be good for him.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please help me out and like this video, then click the subscribe and get notifications buttons so you don't miss any of my latest shoot interviews, match videos, or